let's talk about the GCS for a little bit. So this is primarily referring to the primary GCS running on a Windows computer with the Simulink tools and all of those available. So I have a PixHawk board wired up, and what we can do is we can use K-ground control, any version of that pretty much, to connect to it. So it automatically detected that I have COM6. Then I'm going to use just the highest baud rate because I'm directly wired with it. And this is my PX4. This is completely irrelevant, just for my own purposes. And then let's just keep it 500, honestly, that's okay. See, this is what happens when you have Q-ground control running and stealing your ports. So this is normal, unfortunately. We have to close the Q-ground control, and now we can open serial port without any problem. So if we go to our Mavlink inspector, we see data coming in. And just as you expect, there are two messages, inbound and outbound Simulink messages being sent to the Simulink and posted by the Simulink as the outputs, and those are being relayed back to the ground. And this is what we're looking to essentially visualize, right, in our Simulink ground station. So first of all, what we need to do is shown on actually this slide. Again, this is not, you don't have to, like, if you understand the principle, you don't have to do the exact same ports, but I'm going to do the same ones. So we want to set up a Simulink connection. It's going to be Simulink TX for me, so I'm sending data to the Simulink over here, and I'm using EDP, and I'm going to do just localhost, correct, and I'm going to send data to, well, host, it's going to be 14.75.0. 14.75.0. I just know that this port is not being used by anybody else. Local port, we're going to bind to 14, well, basically the same thing, just append with one. Alright, so this should open without any problem. We don't actually have a Simulink model running at all. What we need to do is click on the PX4, right? This is our serial connection. We want to bridge this and forward the data to the Simulink port so it's actually available for our Simulink model. Alright, if we open our project with all of the integration packages and everything installed, we can go to this tab over here, the project shortcut, open GCS. Let's do that. Alright, and note that by default this TX part is commented out, so data coming out of the Simulink model is not enabled by default, just because if you don't have joysticks plugged in correctly, you're going to have to mess around with it for a little bit. So I'm probably just going to record a separate video whenever I get to the joysticks and the actual computer. But for now, what we're looking is the RX side of things, which is basically reception of the data inside of this Simulink model. Also, I don't have any data feed to the instrument displays. I don't have instrument display, so I'm just going to comment that part out as well. Alright, so, well, what's important is if we go inside, there is the receiver option. We set to K-ground control. Well, that's bad. Anyway, then we have the correct local and remote ports set up as we have configured over here. So our host port is 14.75.0. right? So we're connecting to the local port of this block, which is correct. And then the data size, everything here is also correct. Just use this same setting, or you can change that for your own liking. Okay, so if we run this, well, first of all, it should run without any problem. We just commented out anything that can possibly cause a problem. All right. And it is connected. As you can see, there is mode. The mode is set to 3. Which is obviously not a default value. No, I don't want that. And just to confirm that we do indeed have connection, can do a couple of things. Well, first of all, you see ground control is not connected anywhere. Well, because we just used our serial connection. And Q ground control has nothing to connect to, so we can use K ground control to add one more connection. And this is going to be, let me remember, well, I don't, okay. Yes, so Q ground control, this is its default 14, what is it? 1445.1. 45.1 for the host port, and then 1445.50. Yeah, so this is the default port. Let's label it as Q ground control and connect to that. Alright, and you can notice that nothing has happened. Why? Because we need to go back to this PX4, re-enable our Simulink relay, and then enable the Q ground control relay. And that is enabled now. Alright, so one thing that I forgot about it is that this has never been configured previously. This is more like a fresh installation of Q ground control, and we actually have to go and add a connection. So if we go to our com links, click on add, so put a name that we want to, so for example K ground control, we want to connect over UDP. The port that you have specified as local, as the host port in the K ground control, which is 1445.1 in this case, add a local host, so you have type 127.0.0.1 with this port, clicked on add server. As simple as that. Then all you need to do is click connect. K ground control is connected. Those are just warnings, that's okay. But we basically have connection with the K ground control. Alright, so what we want to use this for is, let's do some overrides just to confirm that we do indeed have connection. So SM underscore arm. Right now we have arm to be set to 0, which is disarmed. We're going to just override that to be always armed. So armed. Well, not sure why I had to restart it. Sometimes it happens, but as you see, is all of the data is coming through. Controller is running. We have some data being generated by the control system. I had to restart this model for whatever reason. It happens again. This is more related to Simulink. If we go back and sim, oops, not override anymore. Arm. Yeah, so instead of that, we set it back to disarmed, which is, oops. Well, no, hold on. We need to disarm it because the PX4 thinks it's all good and it's alright to be armed. Not ready, disarmed. Okay. Oh, I know what's happening. It's configured for different streaming rates, so this is okay. It's just a little bit behind, but basically you see everything got disarmed. No data is being populated. This is how it's supposed to be. So this session that we have just ran, well, this is already automatically configured to be saved inside of this out data structure, so that can be accessed for any plotting purposes. So you can type out and you'll see out.data pretty much for everything that you may possibly want. Fairly standard. Again, for anybody who has used Simulink, this shouldn't come as a surprise. Yeah, I mean, this is it for all of your logging related troubles.